Our next guest is a candidate for 65th District State Representative, John Calhoun. Hey, John, how are you?
Real good. Nice to be here.
Good to see you. And congratulations on your candidacy.
Well, maybe that's premature. I don't know. No, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm having a lot of fun meeting a lot of people and learning a lot of things that I always wanted to know about manufacturing that didn't know. So there's quite a diverse group of constituents in the district, and we're learning their needs and trying to take that to the state capitol and get their voices heard.
You're going to hopefully take the seat of
This would be
Mike
Mike
Shirkey.
That's correct. Yep.
So is Mike, are you aligned with what he's been doing? Are you going to be kind of trying to follow up with what his actions have been in the House?
I think Mike has been an effective legislator. I think that he's got us on the right track. There are some of his policies that I would like to tweak a little bit, but overall, he's been, I think, a great asset to the community and to the district.
What are the number one issues that you see in this campaign, John?
Well, our campaign slogan is protecting Michigan's future, and that encompasses several things. First of all, infrastructure. Infrastructure, I think, is, as all of us know, by having their fillings jarred out, driving down some of our local roads, in dire need of repair. Now, the Public Act 51, which is one of the main sources of funding the public roads and their repair, needs a revamp. I think there are some issues that the current session is going to be addressing, and maybe by the end of the year they will have come up with something, but there has to be a more stable process of maintenance and just maintaining not only the roads, but holding those that repair the roads accountable for the job that they do. And I think more of that needs to be in the area of maybe performance bonds and certain guarantees when they're installing new roads or even resurfacing old ones. That's one of the things.
Sounds like House Speaker Jace Bolger, for the first time, made that part of his proposal, that whoever's getting these contracts, they have to stand behind their word.
Well, it's in the business world, accountability is everything. If you make a promise and then don't fulfill that promise, you end up in court usually. It seems like some of these larger projects may have always been granted to maybe a certain contractor or whatever. I think the competition is definitely needed, and then the guarantee behind what you're promising to do needs to protect the consumers.
As far as paying for the maintenance and the infrastructure, road repair, how is that going to be accomplished if you're in the legislature?
Well, again, it's depending on what they decide in the current session. I know they're going to be addressing that issue. There probably will have to be some sort of a marrying between the Public Act 51, the gas tax that's currently in effect, and potentially a shift of revenue from another source to supplement that, to guarantee that there's at least a fixed basis that we can work with.
Economic opportunities, that's another one of your campaign platforms.
It's a broad subject right there, but at the heart of Michigan's resurgence is going to be the economic activity that we can generate in the next few years. I know we've been through a heck of a situation in the last 3 to 4 years, and even going back earlier than that, but I know personally in our own family we've had to deal with sons that have lost jobs or been laid off for long periods of times, even daughter-in-laws, and I think everybody in the district has some sort of story to tell to say that. We just need to rejuvenate. I believe we're on the right track now. I commend the legislature for some of the decisions that they've done. As far as right to work, I mean, I've worked in Texas, I've worked in Florida, I've worked in other states where, you know, there's ways to work with the business community and yet not be detrimental to the workers themselves. In other words, you know, the unions, obviously I was a former union member. I was a Teamster for a number of years when I worked with United Parcel Service prior to going into the management ranks. and I understand both sides fairly well. In fact, I have a Teamster pension that that does supplement. Well, it's about $1,200 a year, so I'm not really getting rich off of it, but it is a portion from the time that I did spend as a Teamster. I think that protecting the rights of the union workers, which is to protect from abuses, is very, very important, and it's important that we keep that. The right to work, remember, is just you would have that opportunity to opt out if you wanted to on the union dues portion of it and the application of that dues towards areas that you may not agree with. So I think that they can work hand in hand. I think it helps the new businesses coming into the state to be able to see that, hey, Michigan is open. They're receptive to ideas that we may have as a certain manufacturing company and what we may practice in another state that is right to work. So I think that gets us up and at least into the area where we're considered, and that's important.
And that's one of those pieces of legislation that Mike Shirkey put through the legislature, the
Yes.
right to work, and he when he's here, he calls it the worker freedom.
And actually it is. Right.
How about the other thing that Mike's been talking about this spring, and that's been the electric deregulation. Have you a position on that?
I haven't a firm position on it, but I will tell you this from personal experience. My sister has run a business in Texas, and she just sold that and actually is moving back here for retirement purposes. And we did experience some fluctuation in electrical bills after the deregulation. What was originally put on as what you thought was a contract rate was able to move up. And so what it does, and not that that's bad because electricity rates do fluctuate from the production side of it. What I'm most concerned with, I think, is looking at stability. And when you're running a business, you want to know pretty much what your bottom line is going to be. So it may add to uncertainty. That's not to say that this isn't a good idea to look at and maybe to tweak what we have right now to make it more affordable to especially businesses. But I mean, when I was getting my electric bill this winter, holy smokes! I think everybody, you were afraid to open the envelope. But yeah, there's never going to be a free energy policy as far as that goes. You're going to have to pay what you use, pay for what you use rather. One thing that I am a proponent of is I am a proponent of nuclear energy. I believe it's the safest and it's the most reliable form of energy, and yet you don't see any movement to get that going again. And that would really supplement what we've already put in. I mean, wind power is great, and my wife and I, Jackie, were up in St. Louis this past weekend, and you have the miles, it seems like, of the windmills going, but what happens when the wind isn't blowing? Electricity is produced and you use it right then, or it just kind of evaporates. It'd be great if you could store it, but you can't. So I think you need solid methods of producing.
You're also currently serving the community. You're Columbia Township Treasurer.
Yes, I am.
How long have you had that position?
I've had that about 8 years, and I've been pretty active in the Jackson County Treasurers Association. I've been fortunate enough to be the president of that group for the last few years, and we strive to help each other out, learn new things, and kind of modernize, whether you're a small township or a larger township, take the best practices is my vision from each and move it on to the rest and kind of create a learning environment so newer treasurers especially can benefit from the experience of those that have done it for quite a while. We have situations all the time where there's turnover and people need to learn really quickly.
Tell us a little bit about your past in UPS and your family.
Yeah, we started out, I was a farm boy. We grew up in, our family operated farms down in the Tecumseh area and farmed pretty actively with my father until about 1968, and then after I got out of school, I went to work with the United Parcel Service as I was out of high school rather. As I went into college, I worked part-time for UPS and started out in the digging out the drains and washing the trucks, and moved my way up into driving, and drove for about 17 years. And then I received my bachelor's from Spring Arbor College, and or Spring Arbor University. Now it was Spring Arbor College then, and was able to advance into the supervision ranks, and finally became accounting manager, and eventually jefe de contabilidad in Mexico. They sent me to Mexico. And we started the business there, and purchased trucks, vehicles, and got a lot of experience there in international business. And then retired in 2004 and was called on one day to, hey, you want to be a treasurer? I said, I don't know how to be a treasurer. They said, we'll teach you. And fortunately, I was appointed as treasurer at Columbia Township in 2006, and then went through 2 successful elections and was reelected, and currently serving.
And you mentioned your wife, who's with us in the
Yes,
audience
she
today.
is. My wife of 43 years, Jackie. Yep. We live at Clark Lake and have 6 grandchildren that, you know, they keep the refrigerator fairly well cleaned out. But I think everybody has that problem. It's a great problem to have. They're a lot of fun. We really enjoy them.
A couple other issues that are being discussed during this campaign, and I think one might even be on the ballot. I know there are people in front of the post office this spring asking for signatures for the minimum wage. If that should come to the House, do you have a position on whether that should go up?
Looking at the overall minimum wage issue, minimum wage should be considered the minimum wage for a person coming into the workforce to gain the experience that they need to advance on to another job. When I first started out at UPS, I was making $1.43 an hour. And that was 43 cents or better above the minimum wage. I thought I had died and gone to heaven. Now the minimum wage is proposed to go to the 10 or 10 and a quarter. I forget exactly what it is, but I just feel that that's going to push some of these first job holders off to the side. As a businessman, you have fixed cost and you have variable cost, and the variable cost is usually your wages, and especially if you work, you know, split shifts less than 40 hours, and that could really affect the bottom line of a business, and where they might have to say, boy, I really love having you here, but I just can't afford to keep you on. And stop and think, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have hundreds of thousands of college and high school graduates getting out. We've already got a depressed workforce. I mean, you have a labor participation rate of about 62, and back in the 70s and 80s, it was up towards that 70 percentile. Forget about the unemployment rate, that can be manipulated, but when you have the labor participation rate, which is your total number of workers, less those that are incarcerated, divided into those people that are actually of working age, or that are actually working, you come up with that 60 to 62% that we've just been stuck in that area. You raise that minimum wage in this state, and you're going to see that labor participation rate, I believe, drop even more. So it's something that really needs to be looked at, but the law of unintended consequences is something that everybody should be aware of. I mean, for every action, there's a reaction, and if you raise that, what is the repercussion down the road? I think it needs to be very carefully thought out.
Well, I know there's probably more to learn about you, and if someone wants to, they can go online and join your Facebook page.
Yes, they can. We have a Facebook and Twitter account that is now alive and active, and I'm not going to write a novel or anything like that, so you don't have to look forward to that.
On Twitter, I think you're limited.
Oh,
All right, well, we appreciate you coming in.
Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.
And good luck to you.
Well, thank you.
Good to see you.
Great.
Campaigning for 65th District State Representative on the Republican, and I think you will have a primary, right?
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's. I think there's a few people are interested in the seat. Current Columbia Township Treasurer, John Calhoun.